Like Uncle Ben said to Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. And knowledge is power, and sharing is caring. So it is our responsibility to share all of our knowledge. And so, what is the difference between smartness and wisdom? Well, they say that smart people learn from their mistakes, and wise people learn from the mistakes of others. Charlie Kirk said this about wisdom. Wisdom is the knowledge of things that don't change. Wisdom is the knowledge of eternal truths. Wisdom are things that will be just as true 100 years from now as they were 200 years prior. Knowledge can change. Knowledge is facts and figures. Who's the governor of the sinner? That's important. But wisdom is answering much more important questions, like what is good, what is evil, what is our relationship with God, why are we here, what is my purpose, where am I going after I die, what is love, what is mercy, what is justice, what is prudence, what is temperance, what are the best people to live, what are the worst people to live, what are the best forms of government. These are the things that matter a lot more than facts and figures that you could just recite quickly and just to take a test. And that was what Charlie Kirk said. I want to talk about magic mushrooms. And they helped heal me, they helped teach me, and they helped temporarily satisfy my curiosity for the afterlife. But they did not help heal my guilty mind. And self-forgiveness does not work. Praying to Jesus and asking Him for forgiveness and for understanding on why I did what I did and how to make up for what I did is what fully healed my guilty mind and fully satisfied my curiosity for the afterlife. So magic mushrooms can be a teacher. I learned how to appreciate beauty, how to appreciate nature, how to be present, how to create art, how to decorate my room, how to express my emotions. I learned a lot from magic mushrooms. And they can be a teacher, but the best teacher is Jesus. And I think Jesus likes marijuana and magic mushrooms way more than tobacco and alcohol because they are more natural and safer. And I see marijuana as a creative tool like magic mushrooms, but the plant can make me more lazy. And part of growing up is being mature with the pleasures that we consume. Learning moderation. So if I know marijuana can make me lazy, then I'll use reverse psychology by using it as a reward after I do all my hard work for the day. So it's extra motivation to do my hard work. So marijuana and magic mushrooms can help me be more curious. And I would say magic mushrooms helps me be more curious, but also helps me be more vulnerable. And magic mushrooms can help me see my emotions and feelings way more than marijuana. And I said this, that marijuana helps me open my mind and magic mushrooms helps me open my heart. And so marijuana and magic mushrooms helps me cheer up my mood, and they help me be more curious, and magic mushrooms helps me be more vulnerable. But on my own, without marijuana and magic mushrooms, now they can be a creative tool that can help me, but on my own, without them, a way I can cheer up my mood, which I've done a lot in my life, whether it's working on a computer or, trying to solve any kind of puzzle, like a video game puzzle, solving any kind of problem or puzzle or figuring out anything has been a way for me to cheer up my mood. Learning something new, like learning how to build a computer or fix a computer. And so following my genuine curiosity, learning new knowledge, and gaining new understanding helps me cheer up my mood. So imagine trying to solve a Rubik's Cube. You're feeling frustrated and stressed because you're struggling to figure out how to solve the puzzle. And you're taking a while to understand how this puzzle toy works. But you stay committed and you don't give up, because eventually, when all the connections snap into place, when that aha moment finally happens, and you feel bliss, joy, an overwhelming, in a good way, sense of accomplishment and proudness that you were able to solve that puzzle on your own without help and without looking up the pattern. And you can say that you solved it on your own without help, which is an amazing feeling. But I can't figure out everything on my own without Jesus, because He knows everything. And I can't know everything, so I have to learn to make peace with the missing puzzle piece. Which, if you look at my wall, I have the Prince of Peace, which teaches us to have peace in our heart. And then I have which is my blue water, which I see water as peace, the color of peace. And then I have a gray puzzle piece up here. And so with my yellow curiosity, I wrote, make peace with the missing puzzle piece. And because we can't know everything, it's not possible. Only Jesus knows everything. And for me, curiosity is one of my favorite emotions, because feeling curiosity and learning new knowledge cheers up my mood a lot, especially when I'm struggling with depression or any kind of mental health issue. If I can learn to follow my genuine curiosity and learn new knowledge, I find that it cheers up my mood a lot. And so how do we get back in touch with our genuine curiosity, and how do we follow our genuine curiosity? Question everything. Feel the right questions to ask. You know what you want to know. Feel the questions that spark your curiosity the most. Why is the heart on the left side? What is right? What is the difference between knowing and feeling? Feeling a beautiful moment. The only right and wrong Adam and Eve knew of was to not eat the fruit with the knowledge of good and evil. That was the only rule God gave them. And to not listen is to not care. Before they ate the forbidden fruit, they felt that murdering each other is wrong before they knew it. Trapped in the knowing and forgetting how to feel. We can expand our understanding simply by asking, what if? What if we're looking at this all wrong? What if it happened differently? What if Adam ate the apple first? Adam's apple. I also want to recommend a song called Eve Was Innocent, which kind of goes into that idea of what if Adam ate the apple first, which is, the song is by Dror, D-R-O-R, if I pronounce his name correctly. But yeah, he kind of just sings about, hey, what if it was actually Adam that ate the apple first? And I think it's a beautiful song, so highly recommend it if you want a musical exploration of that idea. Up for interpretation, see it from a different perspective. What if there's another way of looking at this? What if we're going about this all wrong? And what if it was supposed to be this way and not that way? Feeling curious about what is curiosity. They say if you're not learning, you're not living. So to learn is to live. Learning is living. What is the difference between a grasshopper and a cricket? What is the difference between a crow and a raven? What is the difference between a toad and a frog? What is the difference between judgment and observation? What is the difference between convincing and persuading? What is the difference between interrogation and genuine curiosity? What is the difference between personality and character? And what is the difference between entertainment and education? I understand the Bible can be boring and hard to understand for some people, especially kids. And I think the most important part of the Bible, the least boring part, and the easiest to understand is the Gospels of Jesus Christ, which is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, which are the 4 key eyewitnesses of Him when He walked the earth. And other parts of the Bible that I like is Adam and Eve, David and Goliath, the book of Job, Moses and the Red Sea, and the end of the world. I think changing the way that we look at the Bible is crucially important. And we shouldn't force ourselves to overread it as if we are punishing ourselves. Try to read with genuine curiosity and not reading the Bible just to get it over with or just to say, I read my Bible today, which I can admit that it can be hard for me to do at moments. But what I mean by looking at the Bible differently and approaching it with genuine curiosity is asking questions like, what if I'm looking at this all wrong? What if there's another way to look at the Bible? What if we've been looking at the Bible all wrong? Who is Jesus' romantic lover? How does Jesus feel about Santa, comedy, rock and roll, marijuana, and magic mushrooms? What is the difference between female souls and male souls? What are demons and what are angels? Okay, so for understanding curiosity more, I want to read what I wrote in my book that I released on my YouTube channel and on my TikTok. And so I wrote, How to Create Art Out of Curiosity. With this paper, I write what I want to know, how I feel, and I create art reflecting my mind to find out what is art. These questions are all fueled by my curiosity, and I'm curious to know what is curiosity. Curiosity is the emotional need to learn. The word curious comes from the Latin curiosus, which translates as care or paying close attention to details and thoroughness. In other words, curiosity comes from being observant and present. What is a question? Who, how, why, where, when, what, and will. The 7 wonders. It's important to keep asking questions until you think of a question that sparks your curiosity. You know what you want to know, just have to ask the right questions. Curiosity leads to learning how to create art, like learning how to play right, how to play paint, how to play an instrument, how to ask the right questions. How does this work? How does this connect? What if I do this? And it's about asking those questions and trying our best to learn and master a craft, whether we are painting or learning how to write or learning how to play an instrument. I have to learn how to paint before I can learn how to play with painting. And I have to learn how to write before I could play with writing. And I have to learn how to work an instrument before I could play an instrument. So I have to learn how to play before I can play. And I think puzzle toys like the Rubik's Cube are great for learning how to play with curiosity. And so I've never solved it before, but I have tried multiple times, but I've never completed it. But now I'm feeling playfully curious to see if I can solve it on camera. And I'm going to try to solve it, but I also want to talk about something else. I've also never eaten crickets on purpose before in my life, but I'm feeling curious to find out what they taste like. And so I had just bought a pound of crickets on Amazon, and I'll leave the link in the description. But they're roasted crickets, and I'll show it on the camera a little bit more. And I have them covered in chocolate, and I have them in the freezer covered in chocolate right now, and I'm going to try it later. But I want to talk about the health benefits and why eating crickets and bugs is healthy for you. So eating bugs like crickets are very healthy for us. And crickets provide high levels of vitamin B12, almost 10 times more per gram than beef. They have iron, calcium, magnesium, which are highly bioavailable so the human body can easily absorb them. Also, traditional meats contain zero fiber. Crickets contain chitin and other fibers that support our gut health. They're lower in saturated fats than red meat and rich in omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, which are very healthy for our heart, brain, and our immune system. Crickets contain almost 2 to 3 times more complete protein than a beef steak on the same weight basis. So crickets and other bugs are very healthy for us and healthy for our gut. And they are a healthy food, a smart food that we should be eating as human beings, just like mushrooms. And so when it comes to learning how to eat crickets and learning how to eat mushrooms and learning how to solve the Rubik's Cube or learning anything in life, I understand you can learn fast by jumping in the deep end to learn how to swim, by putting yourself in a learn or die situation. But I don't recommend that. And I actually recommend starting in the shallow end and easing into the deep end. And so when you're trying to eat crickets or when you're trying to eat mushrooms, I wouldn't recommend eating them straight up raw. I would recommend easing into it, like with crickets, easing into it with like eating in chocolate, which is what I'm about to do for my first time eating crickets, or first time on purpose. But with mushrooms, easing into it, I would recommend eating them seasoned and cooked, like on a cheeseburger or on a pizza, or in a rice bowl, or even on an omelet. I recommend doing that, eating them seasoned and cooked, mixed with other foods before eating them raw and straight up. Even though you can do that, you can buy them from the grocery store and eat mushrooms raw, which I've done before, but it's not the best tasting, and I don't think it's the best way to eat them, which you can, and you can eat bugs raw, but I recommend easing into it by adding more flavor and make it easier for the tongue and the taste buds. But this is all about trying to eat for our stomach and not our taste buds, but you don't want to ignore flavor and ignore your taste buds. So, and if you're trying to learn how to cook and get better at cooking, learning how to make mushrooms tasteful and how to make bugs tasteful is, I think, a very important skill to have, survival skill to have. And so, yes, you're eating for your stomach, but you're also trying your best to please your taste buds while trying to be healthy. So it's learning how to make healthy food delicious. I think is a very important cooking skill for our survival. And so before I eat crickets and before I try to solve this Rubik's Cube, and I'm going to try to solve it on camera, and I'm probably going to be silent. I don't think I'm going to talk that much, but I want to go over the scientific benefits and the health benefits of eating mushrooms. And this is actually a mushroom supplement that I've been getting, and that's another way that you could take mushrooms. If you don't want to cook them, which you can just take it in a capsule form or a powder form and mix it in a smoothie or with warm water. But on this piece of paper, it has a whole bunch of benefits it has a list of a whole bunch of benefits that is good for our overall health. So it says the primary bioactive compound represented in all medicinal mushrooms are beta-glucans, which are a type of carbohydrate or polysaccharide, if I pronounced that correctly. And these compounds are responsible for immune modulating properties and also contribute to well-known cholesterol normalizing effects. And these compounds trigger the immune system through various receptors and resulting in immune modulating, anti-inflammatory, and antioxidant effects. This supplement is designed to counter the negative effects of aging and chronic stress on homeostasis. It aims to improve overall quality of life and well-being by enhancing both physical health, immune function, and mental health, neural system, and cognition. The decline in cognition with age is linked to a significant drop in the neural growth factor. And lion's mane directly boosts NGF production in the brain. And other effects include increased blood flow, vasodilation, if I pronounced that correctly, and improved oxygen absorption in the bloodstream. And tiger milk mushrooms is also renowned for enhancing respiratory function. And mushroom extracts high in beta-glucans can also have a normalizing effect on blood sugar levels. And another mushroom that's in this supplement that wasn't listed on this paper is turkey tail mushrooms. And turkey tail mushrooms has been proven to fight cancer cells. So, just another example of how it boosts our immune system. I'll leave a link in the comment section to this mushroom supplement, which I highly recommend because this company is based in the Netherlands, where they have more study and more research, and they have more legalization of mushrooms in the Netherlands. And this company, I've heard a lot of great reviews, and I've done a lot of research on this company, which the company is called Orvidia, if I pronounced that correctly. But I'll leave a link in the comment section to that supplement below. But like that paper said, it is great for our physical health and our mental health. So I highly recommend taking them. And the mushrooms that's in this supplement is lion's mane mushrooms, turkey tail mushrooms, cordyceps mushrooms, and tiger milk mushrooms. And 3 of the mushrooms that's in the supplement are named after animals. And you have to remember that mushroom genetics are closer to our genetics, the animal kingdom, than they are the plant kingdom. And the mycelium mushrooms break down our dead bodies and give the energy and the resources to plants. So we are closely more related to mushrooms than we are to plants. So I think that is important to keep in mind. And so I highly recommend trying that supplement, and I highly recommend eating bugs. But now I'm going to go get my chocolate covered crickets and try them for the first time and try to solve this Rubik's Cube. So I'll be right back. Alright, it's a mug. I'll try to show it on camera if I can. That's what it looks like. Ooh-wee. Check it. Nice little bit. Ooh-wee. Kinda scared, kinda hesitant. I'm not scared, but I'm just like, ooh-wee, it's just something I've never done before, and it's bugs, but it's chocolate covered bugs, and it's crickets. Roasted crickets, but still, I've never done this before, on purpose. Now, I'm sure I've eaten bugs on accident, but this is a first. I do it for the camera, do it for the YouTube. I do it for myself, for, satisfying my curiosity and trying something new. Hooey. Man. Just gotta do it. It's for my stomach, not my taste buds, but the chocolate helps my taste buds, so. Crunchy. Not actually crunchy, but soft crunchy, if that makes sense. And it's kind of bland, but the chocolate does, and it's chocolate and honey that I got mixed in it. And the chocolate does give it a lot more taste, but it's just like, it's almost like a grain almost. I want to try it again, but I don't. But I got a whole bunch. I'm gonna do one more bite. That's very interesting. It's like a soft crunch, like a grain almost. And I'm trying my best to compare it to what it would be. Almost like a Rice Krispie treat, but with that bland, and I don't mean a Rice Krispie treat, but the Rice Krispie cereal, like that kind of soft crunch. And the chocolate kind of makes it more smooth and sweet, but it's a very soft crunch and a grainy, bland taste, like a Rice Krispie almost, but not as sweet as a Rice Krispie. I want to take another bite just to be able to describe it better, but dude, I want to let it sit in the freezer a little longer. I'm gonna let it sit in the freezer a little longer so that the chocolate is less of a liquid and more of a solid. And I'll see what that's gonna taste like. But the taste was very interesting, and it was not as disgusting as I thought it was gonna be. And I'm glad I did that. So yeah, I ate crickets for the first time, and it was okay. And now I'm about to see if I can solve a Rubik's Cube for the first time. But I don't know if it's showing on camera. I do got my fan on because I had to turn my AC off. It's hot out, kind of hot outside. but the fan might be a little annoying. So I'll probably turn it off. But I'm mostly going to be trying to solve this in silence, and I might talk, I might not. So, but look, I will say this. I bought the Rubik's Cube, and this is exactly how it came when I bought it. It's already solved. And if I remember correctly, all the times that I've tried to solve it, I think, man, I could be mistaken by my memory, but I think I've always tried to solve it when it was already scrambled. And maybe someone gave it to me fully solved before and I scrambled it myself, but I figured, take it how it is, exactly how I bought it, right? And try my best to easing into it, slowly scramble it so I could try to understand, if they say if you take something apart, you should know how to put it together. So slowly scramble it to see how I get it mixed up, and then try my best to unscramble it and get it back to be fully solved. And so, and think about when you're solving a paper maze, I feel like I would recommend starting at the end of the maze than the beginning, because starting at the end of the maze can be easier to be able to finish the maze than starting at the beginning of the maze. Talking about the paper maze, or I said the paze, that's an interesting word, but the paper maze where you take a pencil and you try to solve it, for me, I feel like it could be easier to solve the maze by starting at the end. So it's kind of like that idea with this Rubik's Cube. So slowly mix it up and try to see what happens. Oh yeah. Alright. Oh yeah, I don't like this already because I'm already getting confused. But it's part of the process. Okay. I've already got it. Hey, no way, dude. I've already got it mixed up. And I'm already confused. I don't know. Okay. Man, this is embarrassing. It's already confused, so I'm already trying to solve it, or it's already kind of scrambled. Looking for an orange and yellow. Ah, okay. Alright, so I just spent about over 30 minutes trying to solve this, and I did get like a corner of it solved, but I cannot figure out how to get the rest of it solved, and I don't know how long it's going to take me, like an hour or 2 hours, but I do want to try to come back later with like a fresh mind, so I just kind of take a break from it for a while. And I want to try to record it and get my reaction. So I don't know if I'm going to post it in this video or as a part 2, but yeah, I might just take a break and come back with a fresh mind.